I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 18th, 2024 Shaker Lane Building Committee meeting. Our first agenda item this evening is to approve prior minutes. We have minutes from September 18th, October 2nd, October 16th, October 23rd, November 13th, and November 19th. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes? If there is any discussion, we can certainly have a discussion now. We can have one motion if we list all the minutes together.
I'll move to approve the motions as written.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call vote. Ryan?
Ryan, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy, yes.
And Michelle's here?
No,
Michelle is not here, but Mike
Okay.
Scuduto is just joining, so.
Okay, so Steve Venuti?
Sorry, Steve Venuti, yes.
Okay. Michael?
He may not have heard.
All right. Bob?
Bob Rama, yes.
And Kelly Clenchy, yes. Motion carries. Thank you. So we have a number of invoices to take a look at and review and approve this evening. Are you going to put them on the screen for us, Mark? Or
You want me to? I can if you want me to.
yeah, might as well just to have a quick look at them.
I'll have to do them one at a time.
Sure.
that's fine.
My apologies for my puppy.
All right, can you see them?
They're pretty small, but let me see.
Okay, that's Amendment 4. So we need to get that's Amendment number 4. We need the invoices. There we go. That's the first one. So basic services for Turner Townsend and Erie in the amount of $7,387.
Does anybody have any questions on that invoice?
Nope.
If none, we'll move forward to the second invoice, Studio G.
So this is the reimbursable invoices.
All right, hold on. What do you want next? The $45,000 one? Hold on.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it in order. Yeah.
Here you go.
So, Studio G basic services in the amount of $45,000.
Okay. Any questions? If none, I'm not hearing any third invoice.
And the third invoice is for Studio G reimbursable services for soil testing and geoenvironmental work in the amount of $6,899.20.
Perfect. Any questions?
Is this for the additional work at Shaker Lane?
Yes,
For the
site work.
Yep.
the test pits?
Correct.
All right. We'll do three motions here, one for each invoice. Could I have a motion for the TTH basic services invoice?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
a roll call vote. Ryan,
Yes, Ryan, yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
Steve,
Steve Venuti, yes.
Michael,
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Bob,
Bob Rama, yes.
Kelly Clenchy, yes. Motion carried. Second invoice, Studio G basic services, for $45,000. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call vote. Ryan,
Ryan, yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
Steve,
Steve Venuti, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Bob,
Bob Rama, yes.
Kelly Clenchy, yes. Motion carried. Third invoice, Studio G, reimbursable service for soil testing, environmental work. We have a motion for that as well.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
motion to approve, Ryan, sorry, roll call vote to approve, Ryan,
Yep. Ryan, yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
Steve,
Steve Venuti, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Bob,
Bob Romley, yes.
and Kelly Clenchey, yes. So no, three motions were carried through.
Thank you.
Item 3, amendment number 4. Steve, are you going to put that up on the screen? Or?
Oh, it was up, but. Oh, yeah, hold on a second.
Sure.
Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So amendment number 4 to the contract, City of G as a reimbursable expense. This is not an invoice. This is an amendment that will be invoiced later. But we need approval on the services. And we reviewed these services with Studio G and their consultants for additional test pit excavations and Board of Health coordination. They broke down, as you see in front of you, all the costs. Because they did have one proposal before that added an additional day that they revised and pulled that out and then put the new additional information there. All the backup is part of it for the amount of $22,550. So they're looking for an approval for the work to proceed, and then the work will be invoiced later.
Questions? Is this within the proposed budget?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And we would need a motion to approve the amendment as presented.
Correct.
Okay,
So moved.
second,
Second.
roll call vote, Ryan,
Ryan, yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
Steve,
Steve Venuti, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Bob,
Bob Romley, yes.
Kelly Clenchey, yes. Thank you.
Excellent.
Next, just a second. Yeah, next item, TTH budget and schedule updates.
Mark, which one do you want? The schedule or the,
Start with the budget if you wouldn't mind. I mean, I can share the screen too if you want, but if you got it there, that's
can
fine.
you see it?
You got to make it a little bigger.
Sorry.
That's okay.
How's that?
Where you see that? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is a tracking of the budget that we've been doing since the beginning of the project. Can you move it up just a little bit so we can see the very bottom? Right. Thank you. So currently accounted for TGH's invoices, Studio G's invoices, and the environmental site impact, $140,000. That was one of the amendments that you just approved, and the $6,899.20 for the soil testing that you just approved as well. Then there's other reimbursables for another $10,000 that we haven't hit yet. So Kelly, as you just asked, there's $76,000 left in the budget for additional services. So once that $22,000 gets realized, that'll be down to $50,000 some odd dollars for the balance of any additional environmental and site work that needs to happen for the project going forward. So for the total of $1,085,000, we are currently remaining $559,111.75. When we get to the schedule, we can go. If there's any questions on the budget, we can get to the schedule and tie that in with the amount of time that we're looking at left in this feasibility phase.
Okay.
Any questions on the budget at all?
With $50,000 left in that line item, you think we're gonna have enough?
I think so, and I can ask Mary Lee and Merrill if they want to chime in. I think the extent of the site work or any other additional environmental work has been pretty much covered. We had last amendment number 4 got them to the additional day that they needed for testing. So there is some additional work that needs to be done, but I don't anticipate any large items coming up. There might be some other hazardous material stuff in the existing school that may need to be looked at, but I think we should be okay. Merrill and Mary Lee, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're tracking just fine for where we are in the process. I would say we're going to have a conversation with our civil engineer tomorrow. TTH will be there as well, as far as the perk tests that were just done. So there might need to be a little bit more exploration to get a good percolation rate for the proposed leaching field. So nothing yet. So that's kind of in discussions at the moment, and we'll see where that comes about too, based on our conversations tomorrow with the civil engineer. But you're doing just fine. I think with that amount left, we should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Suresh, you have a question?
Yeah, just to add to what Marilyn said, there might be, to answer Steve's question, if as we move forward and we end up going into the LEED certifications and we think about geothermal wells, we might need to do some more investigative work to document that, to see what's available, but just to get there, but there should be enough funds for that to take care of that.
Good point.
Thanks, Suresh. Yeah, I agree.
So
Okay.
just a question, Mark, just because I'm just unsure. I'm kind of squinting to read the numbers. In terms of the design phase, do we have funding for that as well? That's part of this whole funding bundle?
When you say design phase, what do you mean? This funds us through schematic design.
Or schematic
So
design.
yeah. So this funds us through next August or next October to the town meeting. So once the schematic design is submitted next summer, and then it goes to town vote, once it passes town vote, we go into a project funding agreement with the MSBA. That's when we start to procure a totally new budget. So the
Okay.
$1,085,000 was to get you through feasibility, which will take us to the end of schematic design. So I think based on where we are in the project, with the PSR just being submitted, we had some questions back and forth with the MSBA for a bit, but I think we're good. We had till December 19th. We submitted it today, so we're a day ahead of time, but we actually submitted it on the 6th of December. They had some minor questions that we had to address, so we did that, and now we submitted it today. I think you guys all were copied on a link.
Mhm.
So PSR is in now, and now we're moving on to schematic design. And once we get through schematic design, we get approval by the board, and the town votes it. Then we do a whole new budget.
Okay. So we have around $50,000 left. Is that correct?
Well, $50,000 left in the environmental and site work
Okay.
budget, and there's actually another $10,000 for other parts of the project that you guys might be doing. I thought we talked about doing some of the printing numbers there and stuff, but you can invoice that if it's for the project. There's another $10,000 there. We're about halfway through the $1 million, right? We spent 525,888.25. We've got 559 111.75 left, and that's $335,000 left for Studio G, and then I forget what our number is, 130,000 or something dollars, $137,000 left for us. And now we're moving into sort of the final phase of the feasibility, which is schematic.
Okay.
So budget-wise, I think we might be okay. I think environmental and site will be okay. Studio G and us will probably go right down to the wire with it, but I think we're good.
All right. That's good to hear. That's great news. Thank you.
Sure. If not other questions, Steve, if you could pull up the schedule. I can grab it. Do you want me to grab it? Or?
Got it.
All right, cool. All right, can you scroll down to the, all right, right there, hold on. Can you zoom in just a little bit? I don't need to see the Gantt chart stuff over to the left. We can just zoom it to the left a little bit. Oh, yeah, just slide it over. Any way to slide it over?
No, do not let me slide it over.
All right, can you make it a little bit smaller then, just so we can see the wording? We don't need to see the all right, so if everybody can see that, Um, yeah, that's okay. We are right now. Is this the one that I sent the other day?
Yeah,
Okay. So, can you scroll up just a little bit more towards the top? Okay. Why does this seem different to me?
Oh, this is covering data.
Oh, this is not the right schedule. Can I, let me,
no, you want to pull it up on yours?
yeah, let me share my screen. Zoom always never, Zoom's always never fun.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, I had the wrong one. My fault.
All right, can everybody see that?
Perfect. Yep, thank you.
Okay. So we are where the red hour is right now. So we just submitted the PSR. We had a range between December 6th and December 19th. We just submitted the PSR today, or we submitted it on the 6th or the 9th. We had some questions from the MSBA initially. They're still doing their full review, but we had some questions they wanted us to address initially. We've done that, and now it's been submitted. So we submitted it yesterday. We had till the 19th to do it. So it's in. They have 21 days to review, so they say. But they are now in the process of reviewing the PSR, and once they're done with their review, they will send the PSR to us, which we in turn have 14 days to respond. So sometime in January, hopefully, we'll get some responses, and then we'll respond. The next school building committee meeting highlighted here is scheduled for the 15th, and I coordinate that with Steve and Dorothy to make sure that works for everybody. But as part of the next process, we have to attend a facility assessment subcommittee meeting with the MSBA, and there's 2 dates available, the 15th of January and the 29th. These typically happen in the morning. They're an hour or so, and this is the group that we have to convince the preferred schematic design for. They will have a series of questions. Studio G put together a nice presentation, that PowerPoint presentation that's part of the FAS review. So they will be doing this. So this is the group that pretty much approves what your preferred option is. The superintendent and the principal, Kelly and Michelle, will be part of that meeting. TTH will be there. Studio G will be there. Other people are invited to watch but not participate. We will be participating. Once they determine a date for us, which is not yet determined, they'll have a pre-phone call with us just to let us know what they're looking for, what any questions that they may have, so we can be sort of prepped for the meeting. And then it's an official meeting either on the 15th or the 29th. And they ask the questions, get their answers, hopefully. They will be the ones making the recommendation to the board. And so even after the 15th or the 19th, if there's any other comments or questions from the FAS, we'll address it. Then they make a recommendation to the board, which is the meetings on the 26th of February. Then the MSBA board gives the approval of the preferred schematic design for us and for Studio G to move into schematic design. So these are the milestone dates that are be coming up in the next, couple of months. Once they move into schematic design, we had a date set up for submittal of the completed schematic design for the MSBA, but that's going to change per a conversation with Studio G yesterday. We haven't updated it yet, but it might be a month earlier than that. Part of this, the schematic design needs to go to DESI for a review. So we want to make sure that DESI gets their review and their comments in it before we submit to the MSBA for their acceptance. Then once we're done with that, we are shooting for the project scope and budget amendment board approval of the schematic design on August 27th, next August.
Okay.
Once that's agreed to, we go to the town meeting in October and hopefully get the town to vote and support the project. Once that starts, then we execute the next detailed design portion of the project through to completion. Any questions?
The Mark, at the January meeting, I'm assuming this is the meeting where we advocate for the square footage that we need?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, everything that's in the PSR, they're going to review it in detail. Then they're going to come with questions. They're going to prep us beforehand to find out, what do you need this? What is this for? Is it essential, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the group that's going to make the decision, and then they make the recommendation to the board. So it's a pretty good meeting. There's a lot of attendees from the MSBA there, and you need to convince them, or we need to convince them that what's been submitted in the PSR is what educational requirements and programming is needed for the project. And all the cost estimating we've been doing, all the information about what it's going to cost and everything's also part of that. We just went through that exercise in the last couple of days to verify all those numbers with the MSBA. We got that completed thanks to Mary Lee and her wonderful mathematic mind. We were able to figure that out today. So we're ready to go there, and they're going to have all that information to review with us. Hopefully we get a favorable review with them, and then they'll make their recommendation to the board at the end of February.
All right.
So
Exciting.
Kelly, we, as part of the PSR submission, we also sent in the FAS presentation as well. So the MSBA had comments on that. Once we polish that off, we'll be sure that you and Michelle get the final version so you can see what's there, so you can practice and
Perfect.
state your case. So
thank you. That'll be very helpful.
Yeah, so we'll have that to you soon.
So Studio G in the background is proceeding with schematic design. They're continuing to work. We have these milestones and dates that have to be met and be approved going forward, but they'll continue to do that. And like I said, we're going to be updating the schedule because this might change a month or so, and we just need to modify that. And then sometimes that affects all the other dates going forward. But those are the big milestone dates that we're looking at right now. So it's February to get approval of the schematic design of the preferred schematic. Then we move through to schematic design submittal. And then after schematic design submittal, we're looking for board approval and then town vote. So that's the next eight months or so, and kind of in a nutshell.
Mark, can you tell us when we can expect to know which of those FAS dates will be assigned?
I wish I could, Marilee. I have no idea. I asked Robin and Vitriki that the other day, and it all depends on their process review of the PSR, and that's why us getting it in earlier, I think, was effective, because it's in now almost a month before the first meeting. So they'll be right. I think Robin said right after the first of the year they'll be contacting us, probably that first week in January, or what date they've decided to put us on, because they do have other projects that's why they ended up having 2 dates. They haven't constantly 2 times because there's other projects going through the same reviews.
Okay.
So,
I think that instead of us giving Kelly and Michelle a draft and saying, hey, practice, I think that Studio G will meet with you and we'll go through it together. They do give us a time limit. So we want to budget that. And I think that'll be fine. If we happen to get the later FAS date, then we are free to observe the one on the 15th if we're curious to see how it might go. But generally, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's not going to be any trick questions. You guys know what's going on, and we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, the results
No
of the
trick
PDP,
questions here. Yeah, it's
the results of the PDP were great. They were very minor questions that they had. They intimated to us that as they're reviewing the PSR right now, they're feeling kind of the same way. So that bodes very well for us going forward. But these dates are unknown for us right now. As soon as we know and they let us know, we'll clearly let everybody know, and then we'll certainly practice and review that. What is it, 20 slides to review? Yeah. And then make sure that we all understand who's addressing what we're talking about. Mostly we handle schedule and budget, and Studio G handles design, and obviously the district handles educational programming, et cetera. So we'll work it all out. We'll go through it. We'll have it down pat, and they do help you along the way. It's no surprises.
Yeah.
That's great. I'd like to just thank everybody for working so hard to get that PSR document in. That was a huge amount of work, 600, I think it's 600 pages. Thank you so much. And we look back, we had a pretty rigorous pace since this project was started, and now we're kind of looking back and feeling really good about the process. So I have to say thanks for pushing us, because we wouldn't be at this spot right now without going at that pace that we had to go. So thank you for that. Nice to be here. Nice to be at this stage of the process.
Definitely.
It's
Thank
another
you.
nice milestone in this marathon, because we still have a long way to go. But I concur with you, Kelly, that a lot of hard work has gone into this, and we're at a very good point right now. We're hoping to get through schematic, and then into project funding, and but the town vote is key, obviously, to make the project go forward. But I think we're in a very good point right now to get there.
Oh, perfect. No, thank you. Well, we've run the half marathon so far, I guess.
We're in the quarter marathon, maybe.
Maybe go. Oh, come
Did a
on.
5K.
5K.
3K?
All right, I guess I'll accept the quarter marathon.
That's all we had. Thank you.
All right, public comment. Steve, do we have anybody?
No, there's nobody.
Okay, great.
And as I said, for the next meeting, we have it scheduled for the 15th of January. Obviously, if the FAS is that morning, we could probably still have the meeting that night. It would be fresh to talk about it, but I will coordinate that with Dorothy and Steve Moore if those dates work out. And if it turns out to be the 22nd or something, we'll certainly do that. And then, as a good suggestion by Studio G, then we're going to try to schedule the next few months of meetings, so everybody knows going forward when's February's meeting, when's March meeting, et cetera, so we can start just penciling in those dates.
All right, perfect. Before we adjourn, is anybody going anywhere warm for the holiday? Or else sticking around with the cold weather?
Kelly,
I don't know.
does New Jersey count?
You want it to count, that's okay.
How
Nobody
about Minnesota?
like,
Oh.
We're
I don't
going
know.
forward.
After today, you're not talking about too cold. I mean,
Right.
today was unbelievably beautiful.
yes, yeah.
I'm just thinking about Washington DC. That might be a little warmer.
There you go.
We'll be in
Sounds like
Florida starting the 31st.
nobody's going, oh, that's nice.
Oh,
Here we go.
Be back in April.
Well, I'm going in the wrong direction for the holiday break, so I'll be in Canada, where I don't think it'll be really warm. But,
But that's Christmas. You want a white Christmas. I miss white Christmas.
with that lake effect, I'm sure it will be white. All right. Hope everybody has a wonderful holiday break, and now take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote. Ryan?
Brian, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy, yes.
Steve?
Stephen Nudie, yes.
Mike?
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Bob?
Bob Romley, yes.
Kelly Clinchey, yes. All right, everybody. Thanks, and have a wonderful
Thank you.
break.